Yeah, but you're up 3-0. Even if you don't win this one, yeah, I think you'll still be fine.
No, I mean they're fine for the series. It'd just be nice to have the sweep and let the
At
teams in the
home
West
too.
beat each other up a little bit.
You think Panthers are the favorite?
Hands down, they're the best team left in the playoffs. I think
I was
they
gonna
have
say yeah,
Edmonton's
from the
number.
West. Okay.
I think they have Edmonton's number. The only team that scares me is Dallas. And the only reason why Dallas is scary is because they're like a out of nowhere kind of team. You know what I mean? Like,
Where were they last year?
I think they lost in the first round last year.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, but if it's not the Rangers, I could care less. But they seem like a new team. I don't recall seeing them here too often. The Carolinas here every year. Florida's here every year. Edmonton's been here a few times.
West. Here we go. Dallas beat Vegas. They got to Colorado. So Dallas and Edmonton was the Western Conference Final for last year as well. Just as a shout.
Oh wow. Okay, so Dallas was here. Okay.
Yep. And then they lost to Edmonton, and then Edmonton lost to Florida.
So it's
So
the
just to
same.
clarify, this is very similar. So Florida beat Tampa last year. Florida beat Boston, and then Florida beat the Rangers. But if
Yep.
Florida didn't beat the Rangers, they only played the Rangers because the Rangers beat Carolina. So like it's like Florida's going through
Mm,
all the same
same
teams,
teams.
and Dallas and Edmonton are going through all the same teams.
Interesting. So then, yeah, you're
Which
hoping
is
for history repeats itself.
um yeah, I think I'd rather see Edmonton get in and Florida beat Edmonton again, which is twofold, like you end up with Florida just has Edmonton's number, but the flip side of it is just like how angry people from Canada are going to be. And
um,
just the irony of like the state of Florida just owns hockey now.
yeah, that is pretty funny, especially over the last decade.
And then,
When was the
dude, I
last time a
can't believe.
Western Conference team won it?
Hmm. 2 years ago,
Colorado.
2023 was Vegas.
Didn't Colorado win too?
Year before that.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, Vegas won 2023
Okay.
against the Panthers. And then
Okay.
2022 was Colorado against Tampa.
Yeah. All these Florida teams,
So
man.
there you go. The last 5 years has been a Florida team against a Western Conference Final team. So
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, good on them, at least for turning that around. Because Panthers, what they won one of those, two of those.
no, Panthers have never. They won last year. They've never won before.
Last year was their
Last year was
first,
their first
but
Stanley Cup.
they've been in two finals.
Yes, one in 94, 95, 96, something like that, and then
Three
2023, and
finals.
then they won. Yeah, correct.
Okay. Okay. So this would be their fourth trip to the finals, looking for their second cup.
Yep. If I can fact
And
check
then
that.
Tampa won it. Tampa has three out of the last like 7 years or something.
96 was the Panthers.
Okay. I was gonna say facts don't matter. Yeah. Yeah, it's Rangers are it's kind of a rebuild year. Obviously blew it up, fired the coach, and I don't know what's gonna happen with them.
What team? The Rangers.
Rangers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I think they were going to have cap space problems too, if I remember correctly. They were trying to make moves at the end of last year because they're going to have cap space issues.
Yeah, I think we signed a bunch of guys on like either 1-year deals or expiring deals.
Here you go. May 23rd, 2025. Articles came out. Rangers face major salary cap issues.
Oh, great. I don't know. They're gonna have to figure it out. I mean, you built the team to compete. You were what, a game or two away from the Stanley Cup last year, and honestly, I think we could have gotten past. I think it was Carolina 2 years ago. Um, so it's one of those things. Like, it just didn't happen. East is good. Maybe the best team all year was who was Washington, right? They were in first place for a while.
Best team of the year, President's Cup, went to Winnipeg.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Capitals were up there. Tampa was up there. Come on.
Oh. I'm gonna say I'm watching this power play right now. Mm. You'll be fine. Well, what sucks is that you won't be winning it in front of home fans if you don't win tonight. Go to Carolina
it
and
doesn't
just
matter.
win it. Yeah.
It won't matter. That's an icing. They waved it off.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing. Anyways, the Rangers. So there is an anticipated salary cap increase to $95 million for next year, but the Rangers already have $87 million on the books for 19 players for next year, leaving them only $8 million in cap space.
How many players do you need?
So it's usually
feels like a lot.
It's usually 6 or 7 defensemen, and then like 10 or 11 offensemen. So I think it's like 17.
Okay, so having 19 players under contract for that doesn't feel too bad.
So you can have 23 players on your roster, but only 20 can dress for any given game. However, yeah, so that's where my number came from. So it's 18 skaters because you have 2 goalies.
Okay, so 20. So we need to fill a spot or two with the remaining money.
Your cap needs to be 20 players, or so you have 19 of your 20 puts you at 8, only leaves you at 8.5, which basically means you have to sign 4 players with less than $8 million. And God forbid anybody gets hurt or you want to complete any kind of trade or anything like that, like they don't have anything to work with. So I think what they have to do is... So
we're not in salary cap hell, but we're in a bind. It's a little tight.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to let people go, but I don't think the Rangers have guys that are on contracts that other teams are like is interesting to other teams, right? Which means you end up having to like drop somebody and like drop a pick or drop somebody and give them something else or take something from them to kind of like get themselves some space, you know?
Well, I think the intriguing part for me is I saw that they got the Penguins' old coach, who, from what I understand, has like a decent reputation. So I don't know who knows if that'll help with the turnaround, but missing the playoffs.
Oh, they signed Mike Sullivan.
Yeah. And he was there for 10 plus years, I think, or close to it.
Yeah, good coach, great coach, and they're getting rid of Laviolette, right?
Is that who the coach was?
Yeah, Peter Laviolette.
Yeah, we fired him as soon as the last game of the season. It's like we were top 2 or top 3 team for the first 2 months of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then like December came around and I think we lost something like 6 or 7 straight games and just could not dig our way out of the hole.
So the interesting thing is the Penguins fired him too. So.
Well, we'll see. We'll be just picking up somebody else's trash and hoping it's our treasure.
Well, I think the thing is like the Penguins, if you think about it, their team hasn't been built the right way. Like, you got to think that Sidney Crosby's still on that team, dude. Like, don't take this the wrong way. Sidney Crosby's great, but like, kind of past his prime, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what do you? I mean, hockey. Like, what's the prime like age range for a hockey player?
Mm, 25 to 35.
And then what? When would you say somebody's like not a usable hockey player anymore? 37, 38?
Late 30s, early 40s, late
Okay.
30s, or late 30s to 40 years old. So,
And
like,
Sidney
here you go.
Crosby's how old?
Sidney, 37.
Okay.
So he's kind of at that, like, in my opinion, he can 100% still play in the NHL, but he's not like the guy. You get what I'm saying? He's
Got
not
it.
your
So,
star, like, he's our salary cap guy, you know?
got it.
Like,
So he needs to like be a role player, not the star guy anymore.
correct, which, like, if, like, look at Ovechkin, right? Like, don't take it the wrong way. Ovechkin's not like the big name. Well, he's a big name, but he's not like the star player for the Capitals. You know what I mean? Like, he's there, he
Gotcha.
plays on playoffs, he's there as a locker room leader and a veteran voice, right? But he's not like the star. And I bet if we looked at uh, the salary hits for Washington Capitals, he's probably not the highest.
Curious. Let's look at that. Okay, so Sport Track has them. Um,
Ovechkin for
no,
2024, 2025. Okay, he is the biggest cap hit for their team. Take that back.
that's interesting.
9.5 mil, 9.5 million.
But it's his
However,
last year.
he's not signed
Oh no,
past
next
next
year's his
year.
last year.
Next year's his
Yeah,
last year.
next year.
Yep.
Man, 40 years old. Oof. 10% of your cap going to a 40-year-old
Yeah, but he was that team, and if you do you have the details on on that um
on his
on that
contract.
contract for him? Yeah.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
And here's the next thing: if you go look at their cap hits, he's not significantly over some of the other teams.
He signed a 5-year deal in 2021. A five
So
year
there you
deal,
go.
47.5 million.
So there you go. And they probably paid him because it was going to be his last big contract.
Now, if you
With
go
all due
back,
respect,
I
though,
mean,
we could probably go look at the Washington Capitals stats, and he probably competed with the rest of his team for points and goals. Let's see. Uh,
it's funny that 9.5 million is actually pretty in line with what his big deal was. And I didn't even realize this.
so
His
put it this
his
way:
2008 contract. But
he had the second most points on his team.
okay,
Second most points on his
well,
team, the Dylan Strome, and Dylan Strome was a they signed as a with a still with this contract. So Dylan Strome is actually a steal for their team right now. Goals, Alex Ovechkin led the team with 44. Tom
okay.
Wilson was the next best with 33. So Alex Ovechkin was top in goals, second in points. And I think a part of that is like the team kind of making it to get him to the goals record, you know.
Which
But
yeah,
still,
Turrel and I kind of talked about that. I felt like they were trying to force feed him, but I mean I get it, right? You
yeah.
want the
But like,
record.
what are you supposed to do? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So now,
it's
just out of curiosity, now I have to go to the Pittsburgh Penguins.
oh, you see what Crosby's is? I did not
Yeah, I just
realize
want
that. I'm looking at this now. Ovechkin's big deal, and I guess I kind of like remember it,
to.
maybe like super vaguely. 2008 signed this mega contract, 124 million dollars for 13 years.
Correct. That's why was getting paid that money.
Christ. Still only averages out to 9.5 a year, but damn,
Correct. That's why his cap hits are the way they are. You get what I'm saying? Because it was a big.
yeah, that's crazy.
This was a good site. Teams. Metro Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh, Sidney Crosby is paid 8.7 million. They also
Okay.
have Erik Karlsson on defense getting paid $10 million a year. Oh my gosh, they're losing money there. Sidney Crosby had 91 points and 33 goals. So still kind of on the level of Ovechkin. Like they both deserve to be there. I mean, I don't know why we're having a conversation anymore, but the the next point I would say is just like the rest of Pittsburgh's team is not there. That's really kind of the next answer.
Okay. Well,
You got to have depth. You can't just have one or two guys, right? Like the whole thing about the NHL is you have to have depth. You got to get production from all three, even sometimes your fourth line, especially in the playoffs. You know. Anyways,
I think that's I don't know. I don't know. The whole like salary cap thing and how people try to figure it out. I think it's so interesting to me because yeah, don't get me wrong. There are some front offices that
well,
100% figure it out.
it's a great statistical conundrum because like, and that's where like sports is a great thing, and it's kind of funny because it kind of goes hand in hand with like what I went to college for with like economics, because
Mm-hmm.
there's stats and there's quantitative metrics, but there's also like qualitative, like kind of like emotional and human behaviors involved in it, right? So like,
Sure.
how do you put a dollar amount on what a player is worth to you, right? Because like maybe stat wise they're not great, but there's something else they're doing that's just not reflected in a stat line that's worth value to your team, you know?
It's like putting a dollar value on Draymond Green.
A negative one.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, hey, really?
Nah, I
um,
mean, dude does what he does, but gets in trouble a little bit. But he's an engine. He is an engine for that team. It's hard to argue that.
But like that's what I'm trying to
oh,
say. It's locker room presence, it's leadership. You know, like there's
Mm-hmm.
other things he's doing for that franchise and that team than
Exactly.
just being there, right? He sets a tone and stuff like that. So come on, oh, that hurt.
um, well, Turrel, yeah. So we're dual screening right now. I got the Panthers game on one. I got Western Conference basketball on the other. But no, I mean, just we were kind of just going into hockey, and Rangers are having a rebuild year, but it looks like the Panthers are going to get to the back to the Stanley Cup Finals again. And it's like what's the secret? What's the juice, man? Because it doesn't seem like it's the NBA where it's these like mega trades, mega signings, and like I don't know, Eric. I guess a question for you: like, what would the equivalence of like Luca getting traded mid-season? Like, what would that even look like if it was in the NHL?
Oh, Luca getting traded midseason in the NHL right now would be like the Panthers getting rid of Chuck. You know, so they don't really. It doesn't really happen, right? Like the NHL doesn't have these big show-stopping moves that you see in the NBA. I think part of it is because the money's not there the same way. So like their big lucrative contract is not really the same, right? I think a lot of
Okay.
these players get comfortable where they're at, and you're going to pay me 10 million a year instead of 7 million a year. I think I'm just happy with the team I'm at. You know, it doesn't really happen until guys start getting older, and then they're either chasing a cup or other teams see value in what they can provide, right? So that would be like the Marchand trade, right? It, Boston, his contract's up, right? So Boston may or may not re-sign him, but the Panthers could pick him up for a steal, right? And now he gets a chance to go win another cup. So like that's kind of the stuff you'll see. I don't know who the last really big trade was in the NHL. Can't really remember.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I know it's like I know they're kind of few and far between, but it just feels like in the NBA it happens like once. And I know Luca was a special occasion, but it feels like in the NBA it happens like once a season, or even in the NFL too. Like having like Saquon leave and go to Philly. Oh,
That's it. That's
and
it.
that's 2-0.
It's fine. Um,
Well, like I said, you'll just win Game 5. You'll be fine.
I mean, we're up 3 games to none, right? So like we have like plenty more. We have 3 more chances to win
3 more
one.
games
Like,
to lose.
yeah, no, don't even go there. Don't even go there right now.
They
Big
won't blow it,
guy with
right?
experience here. Just saying, I've seen it before.
Yeah, but
I mean,
yours wasn't 3.
we're not the Maple Leafs guys, okay?
It wasn't 3-0. That's right.
We're not
Warriors
the
were
Maple Leafs.
3-1.
But
Yeah, that's tough.
not I mean it's fine. There's still plenty of time left in this game. The Panthers could totally still win here. 2 minutes. It's doable. What's
2
the
minutes
line
ain't
on
nothing
this
back.
right now? What's the line on this? Let's see.
I'm smashing that overtime button as fast as I can.
Oh my gosh. Never mind. Carolina scores again.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
3-0. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this is that's the fun part is not everything updates all the time. And I think my feed is behind here. So Carolina's already scored before like the sports books already see it.
Oh boy, let's see how fast it happens. Well, Turrel, welcome, buddy. How was your week?
Um, it wasn't too bad. Work was pretty decent. People seemed to stay away for the holiday weekend. Had to work a few hours today, but I was out of there by like 2. Came home, grilled some burgers, threw on some sports, chilled. So not too
Nice.
bad.
Um, well, it is Memorial Day Monday. Uh, I would be remiss if I didn't start with a little bit of Knicks talk, but I'll tell you what, we could be having a very different outlook on life if last night's game hadn't gone how it went. So we have not, because I think Game 1 was Wednesday, so we haven't talked since the start of the series. But Pacers are up 2-1. It easily could be 3-0 for either team. I don't think that would surprise anybody.
I agree. I honestly, I think I was at her place Wednesday night, and so I was just keeping up with the scores. I had the game on and we were cooking and stuff, and I turned it off fourth quarter, and then I checked the score, or I think third quarter I turned it off. I was like, all right, Nick's in a pretty good spot here in game 1, and then turned it back on in the fourth quarter and was like, oh shit, they're gonna choke this. Like,
And they did.
and they did. Um, Crazy final second shot by Halliburton. Okay, it's been a week, but if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And then for them to just clutch out the overtime like that, and then win game 2 as well. Like, as if that first game overtime was a fluke and it should have been them the whole way. They were looking kind of scary going into that game 3. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried for you this weekend.
Oh, So I'm sitting there. So Eric and I watched the game, and it's. I think we got through halftime. So I'm sitting there, and
Yeah.
the lead balloons up to 20, and that was kind of that point. We kind of looked at each other, and we're like, okay, like let's put something else on TV. And I get home, and I was like, oh yeah, you put the game on. I was like, yeah, like whatever. I'm kind of like following along on my phone at that point. Fourth quarter starts, and we're still down. I think it was like 12. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, 3-pointer goes in. Okay, we get a stop. Oh, 3-pointer goes in. I was like, you know what? Last 8 or 9 minutes, like let's watch on the big screen. Like let's just see what happens. And I think an article I read after the game kind of put it best. It felt like the vibes of the game felt like the Boston comeback, and it just felt like we were doing everything right. It felt like even our mistakes got cleaned up, and at that point, it's like, all right, like we're gonna be okay. We'll probably come out with this, and we did. So now we'll have to see what tomorrow night looks like with Game 4. But there is a shot that we win tomorrow. We go back to New York at 2-2, and we get our home court advantage back. But Indiana's good.
Does Brunson go for over the 31.5 if they put that line in tomorrow?
So what's so interesting is Indiana is such a fast-paced team. Like we hold them to 100 points even. I think it's the first time they've had that all postseason. I think they average anywhere between like 120 and 128. So for us, it's like uh, if we're going to play good defense and have it being a low-scoring game, then we don't have to rely on Brunson to drop 32, and then we can really limit like Nemhard or Naismith or Halliburton to. I mean, Halliburton still had 20 points, but I don't know. I think it was fun to see Towns go off. I think it almost looks like he might be the primary scorer now because they are attacking Brunson every single chance they get, and he's racking up fouls. He had 5 fouls in the third quarter yesterday.
Yikes.
Yeah, but it's like, what can you do every single time they get the ball? That's the one person that they're looking to go after. So if they're going to target him with pick and rolls or pick and pops and whatever, and he just sticks an errant hand out, yeah, he's going to get dinged for it.
So, do you want to hear this parlay I cooked up that you led me astray on?
Tell me.
Knicks plus 1.5. Mikal Bridges to record at least 1 3-pointer. Halliburton to score more than 19.5 points. Karl Anthony Towns to score more than 19.5 points. Jalen Brunson to score 24.5.
And
everything
Brunson
hits
at what?
23. And you told me 31 was a lock. So I was like, all right, 24, let's go. And that was the one leg that missed on this parlay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Tragic. Hold on, let me see what I cooked up. I'm usually pretty conservative.
Turrel, you have to tell him about your $1 bet.
24.5. Oh, my $1, the Caitlin Clark GOAT bet?
Yes.
Hold on, let me find that. Where is that?
That was hilarious a couple days ago.
You guys have deep cuts if you're sitting here betting on the WNBA. Like,
dude,
wait till you start betting on table tennis.
Let me see. Yeah, dude, talk to our buddy Whitester about the table tennis
Michael about
betting. Dude, he is a certified savage with that
degenerate, I think is the word.
I put $1 down because I was just feeling spunky on Caitlin Clark to have more than 10.5 assists, 20.5 points, 3.5 threes. And it hit.
Of course it did.
She hit it all.
Yeah, she hit it all. Yeah, it was pretty easy double there for me. Free money, we call that. I spent that $3 on a McChicken the other day.
There you go. So on a side note here, I don't watch a lot of NBA. Like all year, won't watch. Playoffs will come on, and I'll kind of turn it on, like, because it's the same time as like the NHL. So like if an NHL game's done or if like the game's blown up, like I'll just chuck the game on to see what's going on and watch a little bit, right? What is it this year that the NBA is doing, like with all this like AI stuff, right? So like players are getting like circles put around them and like they just did a recreation like of the play, but with like 3D like models and stuff like that. Like what are they doing? Like I get like the NFL did it this year where they started having like AI try to flag for you who they thought was going to blitz, right? And like I thought that was like kind of cool because it was like interesting to see if AI could predict the play calls. But like what's the purpose for it in the NBA? Like there's only it's 5
talking about the
versus
stream
5
right
like,
now?
Yeah, if you watch the stream, go back like 5 seconds ago.
You're
like,
watching on ESPN News. You're watching the secondary stream.
I'm on ESPN2.
Oh yeah, secondary stream.
ESPN. Oh, the main. Okay, got it.
All right, insiders version or something.
Yeah, that's
gotcha. Okay, so they didn't do it on the normal broadcast. I thought I was seeing it on the normal broadcast too.
No, I do know they did toy a while with the 3-point line. Like if someone took a 3, the 3-point line would like get bold on your screen. I haven't noticed that in the playoffs though.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just one of those things that like happens so often I just don't notice it. But I haven't seen that in the playoffs. I do know like last year at least last year, last couple years, they were toying with stuff like that, so you could like see for sure if it was a 3 or not. But if it's not a 3, they just record it or like review it. And, toe on the line, like Halliburton.
I think to go back to your point though, like the NBA is kind of, I would say, was a little bit ahead of the curve before football, and I would say right after baseball with this whole like data analytics, like trying to break down the game even further. And now you'll see like kind of like it always cracks me up when football it pops up on the screen and it's like 37% chance that they should go for it here, and it's like there's to what we talked about before. There's so much more of a human element that goes into it. Like basketball's kind of embraced that now too. And if you don't follow him, John Hollinger is a great follow on like any social media. But he was the former vice president of of basketball operations for the Memphis Grizzlies. Then he got hired away to ESPN, worked for ESPN for like a decade, and now he writes for The Athletic. He'll basically, he's all about the numbers. So he'll be like, hey, if a team is up 3 points with under a minute left, like statistically, you should just go ahead and foul the other team.
Mhm.
And some of the teams are just following that playbook of, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Some of that kind of takes away like you said, the human element, and then they'll try to game it, and oh well, everyone's expecting that, then we won't do it. But yeah, basketball's definitely going through. They're I'm gonna call it like a data revolution, but it's gonna be fun to see kind of where it comes out of, because like I don't know if like and Turrel and I've talked about this before, but like some of these old like legends look very different trying to step into today's game, because it's a different sport almost.
I think
These guys are covering more ground.
So-
They're taking more steps. They're putting more on their bodies. It's crazy.
yeah,
So a lot of people have also complained. I feel like some people I followed, like they complained about it because they're saying like basketball's different, because now it's just a shooting contest. It's different than it used to be.
well, tell that to the Celtics who took 63s in game one
Very
and are
true.
now watching the conference finals from home.
Well, you got to make them, but
I think yes, I think it's turned into a shooting competition, but I also think the defense has been better. Now, maybe I think it's less physical, like bumping your body, because I think it's more physical on, like, Shaq, for instance. Like Shaq would not have the kind of career if he had started today, because the amount of ground he has to cover. Like, you have to be as talented as Jokic, who can be a point guard passer. He can also rebound, and he can score 30 points a game. And you have to have the stamina to be able to play 30 to 35 minutes a night
and shoot free throws.
and shoot free. Exactly, but like those are the kind of characteristics that, like, okay, you want to play in today's NBA, you got to look like a Victor Wembanyama, or you have to look like a Kevin Durant,
Or
and
have
some of those
claws
guys
like
can't do it.
Kawhi.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, do some older people have some complaints about the game? Sure. It definitely looks different than what it looked like 20, 30 years ago. I think it's for the better, though. I think it makes the game more entertaining. But that's a debate that'll like go down every single year. They're gonna have that debate, because the game's not gonna go back to what it is. But honestly, like, football's the same. It's not this like the old like smash mouth. There's 15 great running backs in the league. They don't have that anymore. Like, honestly, how many running backs would you say are like elite right now in the NFL?
Maybe 3,
Right.
Yeah.
4. So like Saquon
Sure.
for sure. For sure, Saquon. Let's see. Where do you go next?
Are we Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry.
Oh, 100% Derrick Henry. I don't know how I forget that. Gosh, elite, like elite.
I know.
McCaffrey, if he's healthy.
I would have said a healthy McCaffrey.
Healthy McCaffrey, probably 3. Jonathan Taylor.
Okay, Taylor's a good one.
And then I think for me, the next 2 that I would kind of throw in the conversation are Detroit's running backs. But again, I don't think either of those guys are as good as they are without each other, if I'm being completely honest. I think the 1-2 punch they throw
Montgomery
together is
left.
what. Yeah,
Jameer
but
Gibbs is still there, but Montgomery left and now is going to try to do his own thing.
yeah, I think both those guys on their own right can be in that conversation, but for very different play styles is what I'm trying to say. So
Someone not
Yeah.
mentioned last year's rushing yard leader. It looks like, oh no, maybe not leader, maybe fantasy points. Bijan Robinson.
Bijan's got a good shout. He's still young though.
I got a love and hate relationship with Bijan Robinson because he's been on my fantasy team the last 2 years in a row. So
So you weren't listing him on purpose.
I not really on purpose. I think he has potential, but I don't think Atlanta's kind of gives him the best opportunity to show it, right? Because and that's the next thing as like a running back. Like, you can be a phenomenal next level running back, but you still can only do so much, right? Like, if your offensive line's not there, you don't have a good tight end or wide receivers who are going to block down the field, right? Like, you can only do so much as an individual. And sometimes somebody catching a block is the difference between you just getting a 5-yard run and you getting a 25-yard run, so that's how it goes. I think he's his stats and where he is a product of maybe just not having the best team. But I think some people argued that Atlanta had one of the best offensive lines the last couple of years as well. So at least from a rushing standpoint.
And then obviously get a new quarterback. They got some new weapons. They're at least projected to do well in that division.
So now the sports I watch, I think, are very different than the sports you guys watch. I think you guys are very on like the NBA finals right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the two sports I like this time of year, outside of the Stanley Cup that I'm kind of into right now, I haven't quite switched to like baseball mode yet, but
Okay.
I follow quite a lot of golf, and then of course Formula One, right? And Formula One just had Monaco. This was like a crazy racing weekend. If you guys didn't know, there was Monaco and the Indy 500 in the
Indy
same day.
500 was this weekend.
Yeah, which was both of them were phenomenal races. Both like drivers I like in both those races ended up winning. But the next one that I kind of saw today, because like I follow a lot of like social media people for golf, is the PGA Championship wasn't this weekend, but was the weekend before. And I don't know if you guys heard the whole conversation about driver testing and people playing like illegal drivers and stuff like that. Have you heard about this?
Refresh me, because I feel like I've read about that like one time, but I don't know anything about it.
So there's rules for the drivers to basically be like conforming, right? So like there's something referred to as a smash factor, right? So it's how much carry distance, I believe, you get out of how much speed, right? So it's like it's a conversion, it's a ratio of club head speed to ball speed, right? That ratio is not allowed to be over 1.5. If that ratio is above 1.5, it means your driver's putting more than 1.5 times the speed from the driver from what you generate in the club head to the ball, right? So
Okay.
Sure.
what they
Yeah.
do is they'll test them occasionally, and I guess the testing is like random. And I don't have all the details. I have to go dig for it. But Rory McIlroy, who plays for TaylorMade, they tested his driver. It came back as non-conforming. They made him change his driver, and then apparently he was missing all over the place. And then I'd have to find the exact details, but I guess someone else then came out and said, well, if his driver was illegal, then Scotty Scheffler's driver was illegal. Why didn't you guys make Scotty Scheffler change his driver? But Scotty Scheffler ended up winning the event. And I think it's world number 2 or world number 3 in Xander Schauffele, who plays for Callaway, basically came out and said, well, how can you only test certain of us and only have certain people have to go change their driver? Like if Rory's was bad, Scotty's was bad, and you should have had Scotty change his. Like, and I think it was a little bit of throwing shade because they're both up there in the world top 10, and Xander's trying to get a competitive edge. But it's just a really interesting thing. And then people are saying if you're testing one, if we have a field of 170 of us playing an event, how can you only test 50 of us and negatively impact 50 of us by changing driver that we've been practicing with for weeks and months, and not all of us, right? Like either test all of us or kind of test none of us.
I think
Okay.
that's fair. So were Scott and Rory using the same driver? Or just same company, same manufacturer?
Same manufacturer.
It is sus.
A little bit.
It is a
And
little sus.
Super, super unfortunate if you happen to be the ones getting tested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because oh yeah, well I have been practicing with this forever, and no one's ever flagged me on it, and today's the day. Yeah, I don't know. Well, so okay, kind of related but unrelated. Is the PGA Championship a major?
Yes, that's one of the 4 majors. So you have U.S. Open, British Open, Masters, PGA Championship. And the reason the PGA Championship is a major is because back in the day, it wasn't just a standard tournament like it is today. So today they play Thursday, Friday, have a cut, Saturday, Sunday, end of the event. It used to be more of like what's referred to as a match play style, which is kind of like a head-to-head tournament. So the way it would start is you would start with like a 300-man field, play one day, cut that field in half to 160, right? You'd have like a play-in. Then you would take that 160, and then you would start making people play head-to-head matches against each other until you got down to like a certain number of a final final two, basically. So that tournament would take like a week or two of just playing every day. I actually was talking to some guys at my golf club, and I was saying I think it's a major, but like it's a major only in name. Like the prestige of the event and the layout of the event is now not really the same as kind of like some of the others. And I think they should bring it back as like a match play major. So what I said they should do is they should like start with the field, cut it in half the first day, then make everybody play match play to cut it in half again on the second day. And then on the third day and the fourth day, you can have people play it as like a standard tournament, right? But they could do some sort of method of like match play to for your first two cuts, right? So have everybody play Thursday and you get a random draw and you play head to head. Then have everybody play Friday, a random draw, play head to head, right? And then Saturday and Sunday they play as a standard 2-day tournament, like they would after a cut. But at least you have like you could have someone come in on Thursday who's ranked 150 in the world play against Scotty Scheffler, who's number one in the world on Thursday. And hypothetically, if they played match play, that guy who's 150 could beat Scotty Scheffler and upset him on Thursday afternoon. You know, like, and I
that
just think
sounds kind of fun.
I think that has more entertainment value from a major is the fact of like you have to be on, right? Like in a standard tournament layout, Scotty Scheffler or Rory or anybody can come out and have a horrible Thursday and a horrible Friday, but then go super low Saturday and Sunday and still win an event, right? You don't really get an option to do that if you have to play head to head and win the first 2 days, you know?
It's given March Madness energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hey,
basically.
when you start that petition, you've got my vote. So count me in.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
So here's a question for you. So as far is there precedent of like the majors changing? Like, are those just going to be the majors forever? Like, nothing's going to change that?
I think so. I think the next conversation you had is whether or not they officially qualify the players as a major, but I don't think it's changing anytime soon.
I know tennis is the same way. Those events have been around for like the French Open started I think yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those have been around for forever, so I know that that's not going anywhere. But I think it's interesting that it's kind of like your big ones, right? Your big fish, and it's those two games. Their two sports are like so rooted in tradition that it's like, yeah, we've been doing this for 200 years. We're not changing anything, and everybody loves it.
Like chess.
Yeah, or I was gonna say baseball, but baseball has been trying to change a lot.
I love the shot clock or the pitch clock. Sorry,
Pitch clock.
Too much basketball. Yeah, the pitch clock in baseball. I love it.
Major improvement.
Bigger bases.
Yeah.
Bigger bases was so much fun.
What do we think about these? What do we think about these torpedo bats that apparently have been
nothing wrong with
gripping the ball this year?
Do it. Make baseball entertaining. I say bring back steroids. Like, just go full on.
Bring back steroids. They're still here. Just
they're just a lot better at hiding them now. You know?
Yeah.
Like, well, you know, why not? I think you could regulate it, but I think that everybody knows Barry Bonds was juicing. Like, but it still was 73 home runs is still amazing.
I don't know. I think baseball has a lot of problems, and I think they know it. And I think the only thing that kind of keeps them still going is just how long their season is, right? Like when you're selling tickets for that many games, right? And you have such a long window where other sports aren't really playing, right? That they don't have to compete with some. Like, you got to think, right? Like, you have the NBA finals right now, right? But after this, what's on TV until you get to September and football starts?
It's literally just baseball and WNBA.
Yeah.
But between us, go ask 100 people out on the street, what are they watching first, an MLB baseball game or a WNBA basketball game?
Sure.
And I guarantee you the majority is going to say MLB baseball, right?
Absolutely.
But that to me, it's like they have 2 months for certain, basically 3 over the summer, that they're the only sport with primetime TV viewership, right? And then outside of that, it's kind of like an American it's kind of like a pastime at this point. Like it's the summer, 4th of July weekend, like you know what I mean?
Summer
Go out and
sport,
watch
yeah.
go out and watch a baseball game, right? Like
That's literally what I'm doing. 4th of July. I mean, that's what you do. Like,
yeah, that's
even
how it
today,
goes.
I was reading something like no sport really capitalizes Memorial Day enough. Like,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big sports day.
Yeah.
You could make a bigger spectacle out of that. Whether you do like the Red Sox for Patriot Day have the like the 10 a.m. game,
Mm-hmm.
or like the NFL does the early games. Like
Uh,
you could do something different.
MLB could do jerseys, right? Like NFL does the salute to they do the Veterans Day one, right?
Yeah,
Like they could do a Memorial Day one for baseball, right? Like everybody wears like a red, white, and blue color rush jersey or something like that. You know, like they can they could find things to do, but I just feel like the MLB is a little bit like it's very resistant to change, in my opinion, right? Like
for sure.
pitch clock was something that they've been talking about for years about doing, and it took them forever and ever and ever and ever and ever to do. Um, but I think it makes it better because in the past I've sat at baseball games that took 5 hours, right? And it's just like as a spectator, like don't take this the wrong way. People don't have 5 hour attention spans to sit and watch one thing anymore. You know, like commercials and whatnot. Like people after the first hour, they're like, all right, what can I go stream right now and not have to watch commercials? Like it's just how it goes. It's tough. I don't know
Yeah,
how. You gotta
I don't
find
know.
they gotta find a way to stay relevant. You know.
I do think that, like, especially now they have the robo ump thing. Like, baseball is trying. Like you said, it's very slow. But hey, people were talking about the NBA. Like, viewership is up, numbers are up. We're having a great postseason. NFL, same thing. Like whatever highest ratings that they had two awesome teams in the Super Bowl. Even if the game wasn't great, you're still getting the viewership numbers. Baseball's kind of doing the same thing. Good teams, great people to watch. Like, I don't know. I think that I think hockey needs to be next. Hockey needs to fix whatever they need to do to get more people watching. Because like the MLS, if they haven't already, the MLS is catching up to them.
Hockey's a tough one though because like a part of hockey, it's going to be accessibility to the sport, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
there's a lot of people in the United States, especially in the southern states, that will never get exposure to it and never play it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So and like Nick, we were talking, and that's like the irony and the hilarious part of it. It's like the fact that the state of Florida has put a team in the Eastern Conference Finals for like every year of the last 7. But
Yeah,
yet,
that is
if you
crazy.
run around the state of Florida, outside of Tampa and outside of like South Florida, you don't run into like a lot of hockey people in Florida unless they're from like up north and they brought it
Yeah,
down here with
transfer
them. And
exactly.
even then, none of those people are fans of the Florida teams. They're all still fans of their teams like back north, you know? So
Great point.
um,
Yeah,
it must be painful to be a Canadian and have to watch
have to
Florida
watch all these
year
southern
after year
states
after
go do
year.
what, or Vegas,
Meanwhile,
or
poor Maple
LA
Leafs
Vegas.
fans. Poor
Well,
Maple Leafs fans.
yeah, that's rough. I think the other thing that I think is interesting as we talk about hockey, I think, uh, is I did see like I talked briefly about the All Star game or the Four Nations thing. Like, where is like U.S. hockey kind of on the map right now? Because
It's
Canada
hot,
kind of Canada
hot.
kind of told us where we were.
I think Canada has always been the number one team for forever, and I think the fact that the U.S. can come out and even win a game like that, even though you go and you lose the tournament final, says a lot about it. And U.S. hockey's kind of come a long way, right? So, um, I think it's a lot better now than it's ever been before. So, and I think it's going to continue trending. The thing I would tell you is I think U.S. hockey is probably in a very similar spot, if not, in my opinion, actually better than kind of like U.S. soccer, right? It's like where U.S. soccer never going to be as good as like some of the European teams, but they're
Sure,
definitely like on the up and up. You know what I mean?
sure.
that's kind of like U.S. hockey. Like they're never going to be as good as Canada, but like they're definitely on the up and up. So it's there, and I think in sports in general, anytime you put a flag on it, like people get hyped for it. You know,
I
like
agree with that.
anytime you put your players behind a country, there's a lot
Good
of hype.
old nationalism. Yep.
Comes in clutch, dude.
All right, Turrel, 9.9 seconds left. What you doing here?
This NBA game. Did they miss those free throws? Or did they not get free throws on that foul?
No,
I didn't
Shea
get
made
Not the
both of
bonus
his,
yet? Oh, and then they went down and made another. Okay.
and then Minnesota went down and made theirs.
Holy
No,
boy.
KC just called their last time out.
I need Minnesota right now, boys. Hate to tell you this, but I kind of need
Oh,
Minnesota
no,
right now.
I mean,
Oh, I don't- I'm with you.
You have to foul. You can't just let them dribble it out for 9 seconds.
I'm with you. I want Minnesota to come back and win it.
So you have to foul them, and you got to hope that they miss free throws. You just want to try to force the ball, or better yet, prevent them from
turnover.
inbound.
Yeah,
right?
turnover
Yeah.
on the inbound would be game changer.
Yeah.
That would be yes. That's what you do. Hey, let's steal this inbound, but I think you have about a 2% chance, maybe a 5% chance of that actually happening. You foul, you hope they miss one, and you call a timeout. I don't know if they have any timeouts left.
Minnesota has one, yeah.
One, you call a timeout and draw up a 3-point play. Who's shooting?
Well, here's the thing: do you go for 3 for the win, or do you go for 2 for the tie?
Take the. I'm on the 2 for the tie. You got to.
If they make one of these free throws, you.
Well, they haven't. Oh,
you need the 3. Gotcha. You're saying
foul,
they get the. Gotcha.
You foul. They're gonna make one. Like, right? Should make one of the 2, and then you draw up a 3 play. That's all you got. They miss both. Yes, you go for the 2, but
you turn over on inbound, call timeout, and go for 2.
Yes,
that's what yeah.
Yes,
but I don't think they'll. Yeah, they got the inbound foul.
No, there you go, and they got who they wanted. They had the ball.
So okay,
does he have ice in his veins here?
So Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, right before he takes these free throws, quick little discourse about him. Goes out, wins the MVP, and I think it's so funny. Again, I work with 14-year-old boys all day, but
37 points tonight.
Yeah, Shea has like no respect, or I'm gonna call it street cred with like teenagers. Like he is not like a Curry or a Kobe or a LeBron, but the kid goes out and scores 35 points a game. Won his MVP. And I think it's so interesting that timeout.
Sorry.
You gotta. You're half a second ahead of me, man.
Sorry.
I'm thinking you're having a stroke over here. All right. 8.4 seconds. Take your time out.
Telling me there's a chance here, boys.
You drop a Rudy Gobert 3 right here.
Stop it.
But yeah, it is pretty crazy. I get what you're saying. He just came out and won an MVP, but this is only what? This is his 2nd or 3rd year in the league.
Oh no, this is Shea's 4th?
4th? Okay.
I think he's got the free throw merchant tag on him, and that's not respectable.
That is exactly.
What do you mean? That he just takes free throws?
He gets fouled a lot.
He's a good actor and can draw fouls.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is his 7th year in the league.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So your guess plus his guess.
He'll turn 27 in July.
Yikes! So then you would definitely anticipate that would have more hype, but
I mean, like I said, so this year, 32 average 32 points a game. Last year, 30. Year before, 31. Like,
couple things.
Amazing to me that he has nothing.
Small market team.
Sure.
Right. Like OKC is a small market team. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well, right? When you're playing for the Lakers or the Celtics or the Knicks, like a big market team that's going to get TV play, right? Not that OKC doesn't, but it's less likely. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? I think that has a portion.
Also Canadian.
Yeah, that'll do it for you too.
No, like Team USA exposure, right? He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get that hype train.
Mm-hmm. And then it
I
could
don't
also be
know.
his play style, right? Like if people like Steph is draining threes, Kobe was Kobe, right? Like there's different mentalities to it as well of like their play style. And I've not watched him a lot, so I don't know. But like from what I've seen, it looks like he just tries to get into mid-range jumper and either drives or decides to pull up and shoot, right? He's not really
Okay.
shooting threes. He's not really like going in and dunking, right? It's just
No, he gets fouled a
he'll
lot.
drive for a layup or he pulls up and shoots a jumper, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
A lot of
he's
and
averaging
one.
30, but it's, as Nick said, it's not like a Steph Curry draining 30.
Yeah.
It's not a LeBron taking over the game, or a Kobe, or a Jordan, or a Doncic, or you name it. He's getting his 31 average, but it's, mid-range shots like DeRozan and free throws.
Oh my goodness. They're going for it right here. They're going to put the intentional miss. They're sending Gobert in here to go get a rebound.
Don't you spoil anything here, man.
I'm just telling you who's on the court. Nothing's
Well,
happened.
do you miss or
I
do you
won't
just
say
play the free
anything.
throw game?
I won't say anything.
It's not a bad idea. Just make both play the free throw game here.
Do you not just throw it as hard as you can off that backboard?
Like we used to do in high school. Just like
Yeah.
chuck it off the
Just-
backboard and hope you catch it.
I'm actually fairly certain, and I could totally be wrong about this. I thought I had to hit the rim.
That
He
that
made
could
Like
be
it-
possible.
If it
They
if
put
it like, you
Gobert
can't just
in-
throw it as hard as you can off the backboard. I'm pretty sure it has to hit rim for it to count as a shot.
Well, I'm not
just
an NBA
becomes
rules
the other
official,
people's
so the wrong guy to ask on this one.
Let me look it up.
ChatGPT. What are the rules on NBA free throws?
Yes. Oh. Wait. What?
This final minute is like the entire length of the first quarter.
You know what it could also be? He just won MVP this year, right? Shay?
Yeah.
It could be branding deals. Like, I've never seen him on a Gatorade commercial.
Is he Gatorade?
I'm just like using it as an example, right?
Sure,
of like
sure.
all the big stars, you'll see them on a Nike commercial, Gatorade commercial, like something. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
I love
So-
how the mentality on both teams here is to foul, right? Like they fouled them back. Like, why not just let him shoot it? There was only 3 seconds. Why would they foul him?
It's because
Because
if
statistically-
he shoots it ties, and they
Yeah,
watched
I get it.
Halliburton the last couple times, and they can only get 2 points off free throws. So
I get it. It's like the math of like he can only
That's what I
get
was
2
gonna
this
say.
way instead of
Yep.
potentially getting 3. But like,
yeah, we kind of talked
yeah,
about that.
and if
Kind
they
of-
miss and get it and then put up a 2, like that's on us.
Yeah.
We got 4 guys in the box down there. Like we should get this rebound.
So now to your point here, we are coming down to that dangerous. Do you intentionally miss here?
3.5 seconds. You kind of have to.
I thought
at
they
this point.
intentionally missed last time.
No, Nas
I
would have
think-
made it.
Well,
What if he wanted to?
I thought you
What
were
if he
gonna flip
wanted
for it.
to?
Oh,
What if he wanted to miss it and it ended up just going in?
and you just repeat
That's
your
what
strategy again, I guess. Foul him.
That's what I would do, because like I'm not
You
that
missed it!
good.
You missed it. Game over.
Foul. What?
Oh, they came back and called it.
Yeah. Ball was out of bounds.
How much time are they going to put on? What are they going to do here?
I
They're all
don't
just
know.
going to scream and yell at each. You ever thought about something funny? This is a really interesting thing. Are NBA like officials that short, or is everybody else in the court just that much taller? Because
Everyone
I
else
actually
is
have an
that
opinion.
tall.
I think they're actually
Dude,
that. I think they're actually that short.
The
Nah.
guy in the stands caught the ball.
So it stops when he touches it, right?
Brother, what?
I think it stops when he touches it, right?
Yeah, but I don't know what the
Bro,
ruling on
what?
that is, because technically, I guess they need to let it hit the ground.
Yeah, but it
No,
stops when he touches it. He's
that-
considered part of the out of
That's
bounds.
out of bounds. Yeah, at
So then-
0.6.
So then, yeah, you should. They're
Ew.
gonna add another half a second on the clock.
What are you doing? That's like a fan that catches a home run ball.
But that's kind of.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the home team. Like that's what you want. No.
Well, yeah, but I think your team's winning. You let it drop.
No, this game's
it's in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Oh shit! Okay,
Yeah.
no, you're right. You were right. Sorry. I was still in baseball mode.
Like he didn't step on the court to catch it.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
didn't-
That's true. That is wild.
I
No,
don't
but
know.
going off what you said, Steph Curry's 6'3", and he
Yeah.
looks short when he's playing against LeBron and stuff. But that's LeBron's like 6'8", 6'9" or something.
I'm gonna call a little BS on Steph Curry being 6'3".
Okay,
He is.
maybe he's 6'1". Hold on.
They only put 0.3 on the clock.
Okay, it says he's 6'2".
Inbound game. Yeah.
Most NBA AI says most NBA referees are likely between 5'11" and 6'2".
Yeah, I
Gosh, I
believe
guess I
that.
gotta believe it. So the only reason why I was questioning it is because I remember watching there was like a Creator Classic like golf tournament, and Steph Curry was standing next to Patrick Mahomes, and I vividly remember Patrick Mahomes is not that tall as of a quarterback, like he's more of like that normal size. So, and I remember seeing them together, and I thought they're basically the same height. And I just pulled up a picture; they are basically the same height.
They're
And
both
Mahomes
Patrick
is
6'2".
Mahomes is 6'2", which means Steph Curry is 6'2". But I think another thing that leads to Steph Curry not looking tall is just his build, right? Like he's not a big.
No, he's kind of a lanky guy.
Yeah, he's built completely different,
Although this year he did put on, I think he put on like what, it's around 10, 15 pounds of muscle or something.
He's beefier now for sure. If you see old highlights of Curry, even from their like championship years, he is like beefier now than he was then.
Trying to avoid injury. I get it. Still gets injured this year though.
Age.
Here's a
coming for all
terrifying
of us.
fact. Patrick Mahomes is not yet 30 years old.
That's wild.
And he has
That
been
makes
to
sense.
seven consecutive AFC championship games.
Can you believe he was like what was his draft pick order? It wasn't like he wasn't a first round.
I want to say
He might have been a
13.
first.
He was first round.
Yeah, but he wasn't like
He
a
was a
1. Like he wasn't like a unanimous like he was
number
10th
10.
overall. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Which in like this era of like go get your quarterback, right? Like think about how many teams passed up on him, right?
Well, it's kind of like
So like here you go. Who do you get passed up for? The Browns passed up on him. Just to be clear, the Cleveland Browns, who have not been able to find a quarterback for forever, and who are next year going to be in a quarterback conundrum.
Oh, Baker was the year after.
They drafted Myles Garrett instead of the Bears.
Myles Garrett's going to be a Hall of Famer.
The Bears, who passed on Patrick Mahomes, picked up Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay, well that was a mistake.
Yeah. Let's see. Leonard Fournette by the Jags, solid. I thought that was a solid pick because he was actually really good for the Jags for a while, and then when he went to the Bucks, he was good as well, right? So fine. Some wide receivers in here. Jamal Adams, safety for the Jets. Christian McCaffrey. Okay, you can make an argument for that one.
That's it, though. Those are the only ones I'd make an argument for.
Correct. That's it. And I think there's actually some really, really good value picks after him, right? Like Marshawn Lattimore, right? The Saints picked him. I think he's been a pretty good.
Jonathan Allen, Evan Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, OJ Howard. What a throwback there.
Mm-hmm.
OJ Howard has not played in the league since 2021.
Jabril Peppers was a big name, but never really worked out in the NFL.
TJ Watt was the pick number 30.
30, and look at the value that he's provided. So that's the next thing about the NFL draft that I think is really interesting. Sometimes there's these names that go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then they never pan out. And then you'll have someone who was drafted at the end of the first round or in the second round, and then they become a star, right? It's just so bizarre. Sports is a bizarre
when
thing.
you have 7 rounds, you're naturally going to have some Some good players there at the end. 3rd round pick Chris Godwin, Kareem Hunt, James Conner, George Kittle, 5th round.
Wow, really? In that same draft?
Same draft. Yeah.
Wow. Some value. George Kittle's a value pick at that time.
Young Hu Ko was undrafted kicker.
Yeah, for Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some good players in here. Well, all right. Well, Turrel, let's put a little prediction on this before next week. How are you seeing these series finish? We'll start with hockey. I mean, hockey should be interesting.
I see. I got the Panthers here, gentlemen sweep. I think tonight was a little bit of that steam kind of dissipating, but they still got it. I'll be completely honest. I don't even know who's in the other one.
Good.
Hold on.
That makes
Dallas-
it even better.
Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton's up 2-1.
Edmonton's up 2-1. It's at Edmonton for game 4.
There you go.
Dallas had that really exciting last round. I believe they were down 3-0 in the 3rd period in one of those games and ended up coming back and winning in OT. 3 goals in the 3rd period and then 1 in OT. I got this one going 7. I'm going to go Dallas just for that moxie factor.
Okay. Erik?
So I think it's Panthers. Not even a question.
Sure.
I think the gentleman's sweep could be in question, right? Because after this game, the way the game kind of went today, I think Carolina's going to be a little juiced up when they go home, right? But I definitely think the Panthers close it out. The West, though, the interesting thing, Dallas is such a wild card team, right? The way they've played in a lot of these series, you think they're out and then they come back, whether it be in the game or in the series in general. So I think Edmonton wins the next game, and then I think Dallas wins the next 3 to come back. That's what I think happens. I think Edmonton's going to win 2 at home, go up 3-1, and I think Dallas is then going to come back and win the next 3.
Maximum chaos.
I think it's going to be maximum chaos, and I think it works out great for the Panthers because if the Panthers can close it out in the next 2 games, they'll get a little bit of extra rest over whoever they're going to play, which would be nice. We'll see what happens. Panthers also have some key pieces injured, so any extra time is going to be nice.
I'll stick with the Panthers pick because I do think that's over, but I'm gonna say Edmonton. So I think a little rematch from last year I think would be fun.
Who's the rematch? Who's the rematch going to go to then?
I think Panthers, but if it's as nearly as entertaining as it was last year, I think everybody is happy.
I mean, they're 2 great rosters, 2 great teams, right? You have the whole McDavid and Draisaitl situation over in Edmonton. You got a questionable goalie over there, right? Then you come over to the Panthers. You have a rock solid goalie. You have a lot of really big names, but I wouldn't say anybody individually who's really as talented as McDavid or Draisaitl. But you have a really solid, really deep team. So I think that's just a great series, right? It really was a great series last year. I honestly, it'd be good for the NHL to see a run back, and just see what happens.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Count me in.
So then, Nick, do you think the Knicks do it then?
That's what I don't know. I'm of 2 minds. I think for the West, I think the Thunder have it done. I think the Thunder probably close it out. It's a gentleman's sweep. Go home, win Game 5. I think the issue with the Knicks is there is a universe that is not too different than this one that we're up 3-0. I think Game 1, you can call it whatever you want. We choked it. We were up. But I think 2-1 us is probably an even score. The fact that we're down 1-2, having to go back to Indiana Game 4, part of me wants to think that if you because so Tibbs changed some of the rotations. You sit Josh Hart to start the game. You start Mitchell Robinson. That kind of gives a bit of like a more favorable matchup since Josh Hart's more of a facilitator, not really a scorer. So it forces Indiana to have to play with an extra big man to account for Towns at the 4. What that means is, though, is if you do that again and it works again, that's great, but you're going to have to assume there's going to be some adjustments. Now, Brunson didn't have a great game. We talked about that. He still scored 22 points, but had Neesmith draped all over him in the first half. Towns had a great fourth quarter, but didn't have a great first 3 quarters. So, yes, things worked in our favor. I do think that there's probably enough magic in the bottle to probably do another one of those. I think, though, if we lose this one, I think we're done. I don't think there's any chance we come back. I do think if we win this game, I do think that the momentum would shift back to us and probably make us favorites again. But I think regardless, I think this is going 6 or 7. I don't think that there's a universe that this probably ends in 5. Both teams are too good. There's enough history there. It's going to be hyped. I mean, if this series makes it back to Madison Square Garden, it's going to be bonkers in there. Ooh. So that's my pick. What you got?
To me, when I was watching the other day and like the way you explain it, I think that one's going to come a lot more down to tactics, right? And what one team does in response to the other, to then like also try to circumvent what the other team wants to do. So I think if you take the approach of like, well, we're just going to shut down Brunson, I think it definitely hurts the Knicks, right? And I think that's where, like you were just saying, they found another way to go do it. So now it's like, okay, what's the response to that? And then do the Knicks have something else in the bag that they can throw out there to try to get points on the board, So interesting. I don't want to make you upset, but I don't.
By all means.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard to win on the road too, right? So like, you picked one up. I don't think you picked 2 up on the road, right? Like that.
Well,
right?
I'm going to tell you something that's so interesting. For this series so far, the away team has won every game.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're going off of that, then again, I don't know, but this would be the first home win if Indiana were to win tomorrow night.
I think OKC has it, and then I think Indiana picks up the win tomorrow, and then I think then they go on to lose to the Knicks and then come home and win again. That's what I think happens.
So Indiana in 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking goes down.
Okay, Turrel, what you got?
I think, I know I said T-Wolves in 6 last time we were on here, and they have it in them. I mean, they won by 42 the other night. Like,
yeah, just imagine if you could sprinkle out some of those points into other games.
Yeah. If you could take, 10 of those, not even 10. If you take 5 of those points, put them on tonight. Take 7, put them on, 2 nights from now. I think when do they play again? They'll play again Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
You're in a good spot, but like Edwards and Randall got to come out and have good first halves. But I think going down 3-1 here, I think they're done. Even if they happen to win Game 5 in OKC, I think it's still 6. OKC's just shown more consistently that they're the better team. At least on consecutive nights. As far as the Knicks situation, they definitely have it in them. I mean, we saw that Game 1, we saw Game 2, got back in Game 3. If they lose Game 4, I agree with you, Nick. It's over.
Yeah.
They might win 5, but it's over. If they win this Game 4 and can keep the away team has won all the games, I think they stand a chance at winning it at 6. Just taking that momentum from coming back after losing 2 home games to just, all right, we're closing you guys out now. Appreciate you playing.
Yeah, I do think, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I do think that OKC is probably the favorite and will probably beat anybody in the finals anyways.
So it's an irrelevant conversation.
I I don't want to.
What do you
Yes and
think is the
no.
better? What do you think is the better series? Like, so what do you think is better to watch as far as like product on the court versus what do you think is actually better from a marketing perspective? Because I think the better
Well, marketing
basketball
perspective
versus
is New York.
100%. Having the Knicks in is way better from a marketing perspective. However, I actually think the better matchup to watch would probably be OKC against Indiana.
I'm going to say yes and no. So the issue with how, and again, I know I'm getting ahead of myself here because OKC hasn't even clinched, but I'm assuming they will. The issue with OKC is you saw how Denver matched up with them and how Denver should have won Game 7 if not for uh, two hurt players, two hurt starters. But if you can push Oklahoma City to have to score from other places besides Shea, like you've got a great chance. And I think that Indiana probably can keep up with them scoring wise. I think the Knicks have a better defense. So if you
Mm.
put somebody like an OG Anunoby or a Mikal Bridges on Shea, and he gives him hell for 48 minutes, like you're going to give yourself a great chance. I don't know if Indiana has somebody his length to be able to keep up with him because their great defenders are smaller guys. So yeah, they could 100% go out and score 125 points, but it doesn't matter if Oklahoma City comes out and scores 130. So yes, you're going to get a great entertaining series, but I think as far as like what the NBA and probably what most neutrals want, it's probably New York. It's just going to be a bigger spectacle. I do think Oklahoma City will win regardless, but I think that's my 2 cents. So, all right, fellas. Well, do you guys got anything else?
Belmont in 2 weeks. So do your research.
We'll
Pick
preview next
courses.
week.
We'll be coming with my pick next week. I will say the Derby winner Sovereignty and the Preakness winner Journalism are predicted to both run, so that'll be interesting to watch.
Coin flip for me. There you go.
So there we go. Haven't quite decided between those two yet, but I'll do
Get
my
a little on
research
both.
this week, and we'll show up. We'll show up with my analysis
Yeah,
next time.
sweet. Well, Eric, thanks for hopping on, buddy.
Yeah, man. Good hanging out with you guys. It was a good time.
Yes, sir.
Well, you'll see if I have a pulse tomorrow night, depending on how this game goes. But until then, see you.
All right, later, boys.